March 1944. Outside the ruined hills near Cassino, American troops were being killed faster than replacements could arrive. The ground was torn apart by artillery. Roads turned into mud. Every movement seemed to trigger German fire within minutes. The reason was terrifyingly simple. German Sd.Kfz. 222 reconnaissance vehicles were racing ahead of infantry, spotting American positions and calling in devastating artillery strikes. Light, fast, and hard to hit. They were ghosts on wheels appearing, vanishing, and leaving destruction behind them. The Americans had almost nothing to stop them. No anti-tank guns, no mines, no armor support, just rifles, shovels and fear. A problem nobody could solve. The Sd.Kfz. 222 wasn't meant to fight head-on. It didn't need to. Its speed and radio allowed German artillery to do the killing from miles away. American units tried shooting at them. They tried ambushes. They tried praying the vehicles wouldn't spot them. Nothing worked. Every time the scout cars appeared, artillery followed. Men died without ever seeing the enemy. That's when Corporal James Dalton decided to stop waiting for orders. Steel, dirt, and a different way of thinking. Dalton wasn't an engineer. He wasn't an officer. He was a corporal from Gary, Indiana. Raised in steel yards where broken machines were fixed by whatever tools were available. If something didn't work, you didn't complain. You built something better. Watching another artillery strike wipe out a nearby unit, Dalton noticed something most others ignored. The scout cars weren't cautious. They relied on speed and confidence. They drove aggressively along predictable routes. And they had a weakness. The forbidden idea. Dalton realized the scout cars didn't need to be destroyed. They just needed to be stopped, using nothing more than barbed wire, 2 shovels, and raw nerve. Dalton and a small group of volunteers dug shallow trenches across narrow approach route trenches. Too small to notice its speed. Then they strung barbed wire just beneath the surface, angled precisely to catch axles and suspension. It violated regulations. It wasn't approved by engineers, and if it failed, it would get them killed. But doing nothing was already killing them. The first test, when the next German scout car came racing forward, it didn't slow down. It hit the wire. The front wheels locked. The vehicle flipped violently, rolling into the ditch and coming to rest upside down. The crew inside never had time to call for artillery. For the first time in weeks, there was silence. Dalton's trap had worked. Word spreads through the ranks the next day. Another scout car hit, another wire trap, then another. Soon, German reconnaissance patrols began hesitating. Routes changed. Movement slowed. Artillery strikes dropped sharply in Dalton's sector. Nearby units noticed. Without waiting for permission, soldiers began copying the idea. Barbed wire traps appeared along mountain roads, ridgelines, and narrow passes. The traps cost nothing, required no heavy equipment, and could be built overnight. Casualties dropped, not slightly, dramatically. The army looks the other way officially. None of this existed. Dalton's method wasn't in manuals. No officer wanted to admit enlisted men were redesigning battlefield tactics without authorization. There were no medals, no citations, no official acknowledgement. But quietly, officers stopped tearing the traps down. Because they worked. A silent legacy by late 1944. Similar wire-based vehicle denial tactics were being taught informally across Allied units in Italy and later in parts of Western Europe. After the war, military doctrine began emphasizing mobility denial, improvised obstacles, and decentralized problem-solving ideas that looked suspiciously like Dalton's forbidden wire traps. His name never appeared in textbooks, but his thinking did. After the war, James Dalton returned to Indiana after the war. He didn't tell stories. He didn't claim credit. To him, it wasn't heroism, it was common sense. Years later, a fellow veteran summed it up best. Jimmy didn't beat the Germans with weapons. He beat them by understanding how they thought. Why the story matters. War history often celebrates generals, tanks, and grand strategies. But real change often comes from exhausted soldiers in muddy fields, solving problems because no one else will. James Jimmy Dalton didn't invent a new weapon. He invented a new way to survive. And in the hills outside Cassino, that made all the difference.